From the outside, no one would suspect a thing. The 3-story colonial stood on a half-acre lot, shaded by gnarled oats and silver maples, old enough to remember farmland, stone mills, and the prayer songs of the Shakers. A vision of English character and charm, it lured prospective buyers in with promises of grand fireplaces, custom millwork, crystal chandeliers, and servants' quarters hidden beneath the slate roof. The builders had spared no expense back in the gilded optimism of 1922. A middle-aged man stood at the edge of the property in a slim sports coat and Italian shoes. The stubble on his squarish jaw and the wire-rimmed glasses on his nose drew an image of an intellectual. Not short, but not tall. He had wavy, salt-and-pepper hair that fell strategically over his middling brow. He glanced over his shoulder at the 4-lane road on the other side of the thick hedge. Downtown Cleveland lay 7 miles behind it. The pretty woman next to him gazed up at the stately brick facade, counting the leaded glass windows, imagining the view from inside. Thin and petite, with deep brown eyes, she might have been mistaken for a girl if it weren't for the high-heeled boots and sharpened angles of her face. Designer sunglasses perched at the top of her head, holding back salon blonde hair. A silk scarf draped artfully over her shoulders. Gold jewelry hung from her tiny ears and wrists. The trappings of wealth didn't quite match her uneasy gait, or the apprehension on her face, as the real estate agent led the couple up the winding flagstone path to the front door. On closer inspection, the lawn was a bit overgrown, and the flower beds needed mulching. The edging needed tidying up. The paint along the eaves had begun to peel. Easy things to fix, the sales agent explained hurriedly. A white cat darted across the entryway, stopping in front of the nearest tree to study the intruders. Its cool, appraising gaze turned the blonde woman's head. The cat wasn't wearing a collar. It cocked its head at her before sauntering around the side of the house, like it owned the place. Unnerved, the woman continued up the stairs of the grand portico. A wrinkled piece of white paper had been taped to one of the windows flanking the mahogany door. It read, "Notice. This property has been determined to be vacant and or abandoned. This information will be reported to the mortgage servicer responsible for maintaining this property. It is likely this property will have its locks changed and its plumbing winterized within the next 7 business days. If this property is not vacant, please call the number provided below. Date, January 3rd, 2016. The ink had faded under the glare of the sun. The paper had curled up at the corners. 2 years had passed since its posting. Behind them, the rusted chains of the for sale sign creaked with the shift of the wind as the plastic shingle swayed back and forth in the yard. When we go in, try to reserve judgment. True, this place needs a lot of work, but for the right buyer, it's an unbelievable opportunity. The sales agent fumbled with the lockbox affixed to the scrolled brass door handle and retrieved the key. You just can't get a house like this at this price point anymore. I'm a little concerned about that busy road, the man said. You can barely hear the cars from inside, she reassured him. You get so much more house this way, and you're within walking distance of the grocery store and the library. Besides, with the old-growth trees... The husband's pensive smile dropped when he glimpsed beyond the door. His wife let out a startled gasp as the smell hit her. The stench of rotting garbage and mildew hung heavily in the foyer as the man stepped over the threshold. Cigarette butts and fast food wrappers lay scattered across the quarter-sawn oak floors. A pile of dirty clothes and torn rags sat in the center of the formal dining room to their right. The iron radiator was missing from the foyer. Graffiti of all sorts slashed the walls and custom oak paneling, shrieking warnings and epitaphs as the man wandered from the foyer to the living room. Welcome to Hell House. Get out. Run. The evil dead live.